And welcome to Northwest Tech Show. I'm Dave Duncan, and today I'm joined by Jess, an internet streamer that has been on Twitch for how long?
About 19 months now.
So tell us a little bit, how did you get into internet streaming, and how's it been going since?
So I got into streaming initially because I wanted a platform where I could have a creative outlet, display my art. A big thing with Twitch and live streaming in general is creating a community, and that's been one of the greatest journeys that I've had getting involved in online streaming. I initially got into it by recommendation of one of my old roommates who is very into gaming, and Twitch is mainly a live streaming gaming platform.
Right, so like someone's playing Modern Warfare or something and you're seeing their screen and maybe a little shot of themselves in the corner or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And they give commentary on the game or like tips and strategies of how to get through a level. Reactions and jokes. And
really popular. People really enjoy watching other people play because it's almost like being passenger in a car. You get to see the scenery a lot more when you're not driving.
Yeah, absolutely. And connect with some people over a common interest as well. And so my old roommate recommended it to me because he said there was a lot of other avenues that you could take on there, and so the avenue that I wanted to take is being in the, at the time it was the IRL category, which since they've split the IRL category into 12 different subcategories.
And let's de-acronimize it for people.
IRL category means in real life. So things that basically is a broad category for people who aren't
doing
gaming. Yeah, but and then there's also art categories that I've dabbled into as well. But the IRL categories that has now the main one that split off from that is just chatting, and that's the the kind of continuation of what IRL was for the most part. But you have more viewership in there, and they don't boot you out for doing art. So I decided to go where the viewership was for the most part. But I do go back into that art category. Yeah.
So when you said you wanted to reach out to a community, I mean, there is another nerve that kind of gets hit by being the person and watching that view count go up, right? What's that like?
I guess it would be similar that a lot of people could compare to getting Facebook likes. Like the popularity, like people like attention.
Oh, 30 people like my photo,
Yeah, exactly. It's just a very natural human way to feel that you're getting attention from a crowd if you're not a total introvert. I'm an ambivert, and so sometimes I want it, sometimes I'm like, oh no, there's 80 people in here and I feel pressure. That's on a very good night though for me.
Now, is that a real thing? I haven't heard that term before.
So ambivert means that you can be introverted in some scenarios or feeling that way sometimes in your life, and then extroverted in other scenarios or whatever mood that you're in. And so sometimes all I want to do is just be at home by myself with my dog. And other times, like, I'm like, man, I'm feeling antsy. I got to get out and about. I need to talk to somebody. I think more people are ambiverts than we realize because we've had just such a dichotomous view on it for a long time.
I think people kind of had a misunderstanding of what introverts were. Because it's like, it's not that you don't like people, it's that you need time alone to recharge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then extroverts get their energy from other people.
Yes, they can't be around other people enough, you know? So, all right, so it's like getting likes. What maybe were you doing to scratch that itch before you found something like Twitch? What was there? Was there an in real life corollary?
So at the time there wasn't, and I wasn't at the time having as much positive social interaction as I needed for my life and for my own happiness because of the living situation that I was in at the time, that having some measure of success on Twitch has actually helped me get out of that living situation and environment where I wasn't feeling socially fulfilled. So it scratched an itch that wasn't being fulfilled in terms of having more of a friendship community, that when you start off as a smaller streamer, you can have much more intimate relationships with people.
So you see names reoccur, and it's like, oh, yeah, Joey's here.
Yeah, exactly.
It really gives you that thrill, like a friend just walked in the door.
Yeah, and it just feels so good that people want to spend time with you out of their lives, and you want to spend time with them too. And they have great input for discussions that we may get into. When I first started Twitch, for the first 3-4 months I was on Twitch, I was strictly painting on canvas, and that's all that I did.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it evolved over
Wow.
time, and as I got more technology involved and was able to afford to upgrade my streaming tools that I was using, I was able to go into doing things like singing, because I love to sing and people enjoy listening to me sing as well. And then so segued into that, singing and performing, and it's always a performance when you're on camera. At least if you're a good streamer, then it's always going to be somewhat of a performance. But you never want, for me personally, some people go into the avenue of creating a wholly different character than is themselves, but I just increase my character that I already have in real life. I don't want to be somebody else.
It's Jess
you know?
plus.
Yeah, plus, exactly. Jess times 5. You don't want to go Jess times 10, because my head might explode if I get that
right.
crazy.
and you don't want to have to like constantly trying to top yourself. You got to keep it a little. You got to keep a little bit in reserve.
Right, exactly. It's like somebody, a guy that goes all out on their first anniversary. How do you top that, man? You got to slowly ramp it up. So I went into singing, and then evolved from that into creating my own trivia shows out of my own knowledge base. And
Wow.
yeah, and
Okay.
after a year and a half, man, or a little over a year and a half now, it's hard to find my own trivia based knowledge when you do, a show a month of trivia, 40 questions each out of your own knowledge base that are actually interesting questions at different levels of difficulty. And now I'm kind of running out of my random fact tree. So
Well, hearing you say that, kind of circling back, it kind of reminds me that one of the things that we generally don't have in modern life is like, knowing your neighbors and the people down the street and all this. So to me, it's almost like you're throwing a block party, because it's not just you having a relationship and noticing these people, and but they also interact with each other in the chat room, right? Even with the gamers, you had to like the game, and then down the side you had
the chat room. Yeah, the chat room is the space. That's what makes live streaming really interactive with the viewers, is the chat room. And that's what creates the community as well. So,
and that's just typed out, right?
And that's just typed out. And big thing on Twitch is a version of their emoticons that they use on there. And on Twitch, they just shorten it to emotes and not emojis. They kind of use their own word for that. But the emoticons are actually huge culture on Twitch, and like different chat rooms.
So not just smiley face, but what?
Oh yeah, not just smiley face, but people on Twitch actually can make design their own emoticons that they upload.
So it's like their own smile,
Yeah,
their own frowny, their own zzz.
Yeah, very personalized. But then there's some, and using BTTV, which is a third-party emote website as well, that people can upload, and so there's some though that are just straight from Twitch of their own emotes that are purely on Twitch, not belonging to any people's channels. There's just some hilarious ones out there, man, that have so much expression in them, and you could do a whole study just on what these emotes mean, that if you weren't part of the culture of Twitch, you wouldn't know exactly what they're trying to express, or the different versatile nature of each one and how it can fit into an expression that someone's using. But the chat on the side is almost, when you use low latency in live streaming, then
So
it
that
can
means
almost be immediate.
It's like you're not getting that 7-second delay between when you say something and when they react to it.
Right.
Low latency, it's like they're typing at you right away.
Basically, if you use low latency and they're within a general close enough region, like just within the United States, and I use low latency, it's maybe 2 seconds. So it's super low. It's almost immediate contact with some people, and then maybe a couple more seconds on the other side of the world, because that's part of the wonderful thing about Twitch community as well, is it can really be international depending on what people's schedules are around the world. One great thing about Twitch communities, and how I feel like technology is really expanding people's horizons for what they can see as their friend groups, is people with hectic work schedules that wouldn't normally be able to hang out with people in their own time zones, like anywhere, and people with one amazing thing. I've met a lot of people with physical disabilities that use online as a way to really connect with other people.
It's like that just disappears.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
the guy in the wheelchair, it's just another person.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really freeing for people, and especially if it's hard for them to get out of their house too. And exactly what you said is such an amazing point, that nobody sees the disability online, and even people who are stream with disabilities, and some are more obvious than others, and some that would be obvious in real life, are like sitting in a wheelchair but not having anything going on disabling the top half of their body. Then all of a sudden that wheelchair does disappear, and they can be live on a camera, and people can view them without viewing them as their chair. I can understand that without even having a disability. I'm like, there's an altitude difference.
Well, you
here.
live large, because it doesn't show on you.
Well, thank you. Well, I sit on my feet a lot. It's comfortable. It's those Asian genes. It's something in me. I'm just like, it's just so comfortable. And I believe this in yoga is called Virasana pose. I believe that's the term for
The rest of us just sit down. You have Virasana pose.
Yeah, and it takes the pressure off of your internal organs and puts it on your ankles. So, I might have really messed up ankles in the future, but I'm going to have really healthy internal organs.
Well, swinging around to the Japanese heritage, that was your handle for a long time was Ichi
Right.
McBabe.
Yeah. So I had...
And that was just like, you just spur of the moment, what's a good name to grab? Is that how much process went into that first name?
Oh, almost zero, to be honest. Almost zero. So
You smirked and you typed.
So
This'll get him. Ichi McBabe.
Ichiban means number one in Japanese, but it's like number one winner of the race, not just number one. Okay. Ichi is just the number one.
Okay.
Like ichi ni san shi go roku hichi hachi kyuju type of thing.
Are you throwing down some counting?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit of counting, So basically, zero thought was put in, and I deeply regret choosing that name.
But it turns out on Twitch you can change the handle on your account, right?
Right. Yes. Every 90 days you have the option to, and for a long time. So I got more popular on Twitch than I was expecting in a quicker way. So I didn't want to change for a long time just because that's what I was so known for. And you can lose some viewership potentially if you don't
get attached
promote
to a certain name or whatever.
Yeah, people really do get attached to a certain name and what they view as a persona that goes with it, whether or not it's a persona or not. Yeah. So I am currently rebranding, and I'm going to something that's more personal to me, and it's going to be Jess in the Wild.
Nice.
So yeah,
I think that's very suitable.
Thank you. And easier to say. I can be a little bit of a wild child, and just in the wild, the world is a wild place, and we're all in it. And if I do
we're all in the tangles of the internet.
Indeed. So the name Jess in the Wild also can correlate to traveling out and about, and hopefully having more opportunity for that in one way or another in the future as well, and taking my stream more into public spaces how I've wanted to. So got to make sure that you're that your internet connection's really good in different spaces.
That's right.
So
well, that's only getting better, right?
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Have you seen, there was a video somewhere in the UK of somebody showing a 4G phone next to a 5G phone, and their download and upload speed.
20 to 1 or something, yeah.
Like, I think it was more than 20 to 1. It was insane.
Or 60 to 1, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it was just, it was crazy, like exponential, man.
That's a whole thing, because now one of the companies that had the best 5G is getting attacked by, you're too closely aligned with the Chinese government, and therefore no one's allowed to do business with you. It's like the argument pretty much equally applies to, U.S. manufacturers, because the same thing, used all over the world. Yes, we could put backdoors in them. It's like, did I do that?
Did I do that? That's hilarious. I wanted to get back to a funny point in the beginning. So, like, basically no thought was put in the name, and I regretted it for a long time.
Okay.
Recently rebranded, but the early days, so I literally, the same day that I chose the name on this platform that I had never really scouted out before, and it's been such a huge part of my life now, the first day I chose my name was the first day I streamed. The first day I had ever actually went to the website myself was the first
wow.
day.
You hadn't even seen anything.
I hadn't even seen anything. I just heard about it and saw some things on my friend's or my ex-roommate's account and on his comcomputer, and that's
It's
the
like,
only.
oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's try it out.
Talking
had
to a camera?
no
Got it.
clue what was going on. So I had a $100 smartphone, and it suited my needs, but it was not suited for streaming. Let's be honest. There had horrible mic on it, and the video wasn't that great either. And it's just so that literally my phone would overheat from streaming for like 2 hours. And in the beginning days, for the first couple, like the first 2 months, I would strap frozen cheese packs to the back of my phone in order to have.
Improvised cooling. Well, I gotta go, folks. I am burning up my phone.
Literally.
No, seriously, I gotta get a glass of water. Okay.
And I was sitting on the floor with like books stacked in a weird way to prop up the canvas that I was using. And now about a year and a half later, I have like a computer rig that I built myself I built it for streaming. I have, an MXL 990 studio quality microphone now. Now I have 2 professional streaming quality Logitech cameras that I use. One for a face cam and then another one for an art cam or any projects that I'm doing at the time. So I went from like hurting my back, like being to the side with a canvas propped up on books, to actually having like 2 cameras and a nice new desk.
Like the chat room was taking bets on when you'd fall over, right?
Well, I've also fallen out of, even after I got my great setup, I've actually fallen out of my chair a couple times. One time I was listening to metal music, taking a break, eating a sandwich, and I was listening to metal music that somebody who lives in New Jersey, who's a musician and a martial artist, and they're in a metal band, and they sent me something of his to listen to on stream.
You played it on stream.
Yeah, and played it on stream. I'm like, cool, Sometimes, depending on who it is, if I don't know the person very well, I'm not going to play what they sent me on stream.
Sure.
But if I know the person well enough, or I like them enough, or they've maybe done enough for me if I don't know them that well.
You're a curator of that community.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, okay, I gotta do right. I gotta give a little props to my people that are trying to express their creativity. Also gotta like not overindulge them for the benefit of the others.
Exactly.
Keep it entertaining. Keep them getting what they came for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't want my content, because I'm basically what they come for. I'm the personality, even though no matter what I'm doing, because I'm a variety streamer. Like some people go, if they enjoy a game on Twitch, for instance, they'll go and find like 10 different streamers that all are just streaming like the game that they like, but that's their main focus. And then they find the person that they like that is streaming it, that they have more enjoyment
I think
with.
they settle down on a few people that are their favorites. It's like, I like the way this person is thinking about the game, how they're communicating about it.
Yes, absolutely, exactly. But the game is the first thing that draws them in. What I do, it's like I'm the first thing that draws people.
Not a fungible commodity.
Yes, yeah. So I don't want to like unless the quality is really good of what people want me to display or play on stream, like I'll limit it. It's because sometimes, like, let's be honest, like sometimes the quality is not going to be super great or not going to be
even
to the
then
taste,
though.
so.
I think it's worthwhile just giving a little taste of, hey, here's what Joe's real into.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely still is, and people who've been around for a long time, or people who've been really just kind people, even if the quality of what they're producing, like, let's see, Twitch has a new thing called Twitch Sings that has their own karaoke, that they've created their own application.
Oh, yeah, it's like it throws in reverb and gives you a big stage setting. And,
right, and you can make your own avatar if you want. My avatar is amazing, by the way. It is actually has the face of a man, but a curvy body type, like similar to mine, like short and, ladylike body type.
Some sort of army jarhead face or something. Or?
No, it has big anime eyes, but then there's a nice beard to it and a balding head down the side. And I just went with it when I first created the avatar, and now I'm kind of in love with the look of it. It's just so much
I am a composite person.
interesting contrast. So, but for instance, like, you can do duets on there and save them. And so people will do duets and ask me to duet with them when I am doing Twitch Sings. Or they'll finish a duet that I started that I can then go back and play it on my channel. And, you know, like, karaoke is not supposed to be about who's the best. And I happen to enjoy singing.
It's the fun of just enjoying people sharing a love for the music. You know, putting your own feelings into that song. This is me sharing myself with you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing in terms of, like, some people, you know, karaoke's not about that, but I'll, like, display and go back even when I'm not doing Twitch things. I'll be like, oh, did anybody finish our duet? And let's go see who they are and check them out. Oh, wait, they're a streamer too. Let's give them a follow. And I really like to promote. That's part of the community feel that I like to foster on my channel. Some other streamers are just never into giving shout outs. A lot of them are, especially, you know, smaller streamers. I would call myself a smaller to medium sized streamer, because most streamers out there, I would say probably 90%, there's a huge curve where it's like a flat line that goes into something very steep.
Yeah, 5 followers, 10 followers, and then I got 20,000 followers or something like that.
Yeah,
I got a million followers.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Sure. Like, in terms of viewership, like, some people can stream for 4 years, 5 years plus and have, you know, maybe 5 people in their channel still after all those years of streaming, because they didn't get a break, or maybe, you know, they're not a performer. They weren't somebody who's necessarily meant to be on camera, but they still enjoy it because it's a personal hobby for theirs, and that's great. And some people, even after 3 years with 5 viewers, they still want to make it big.
Yeah.
And they aren't willing to make the changes that they would need to do to get that success in that way that they're looking for it.
Well, but they've done one thing, which is consistency and persistence.
Having a schedule that a set schedule that you at least loosely follow, and people know what to expect in a way. Like, you don't have to stick it to a T, and that's one of the great things about streaming too, is that you do make your own schedule, and you can, if you had something scheduled but something comes up, you can send, you know, shout out messages to your community. And most streamers, basically all streamers, have a Discord server that's an online, Discord is an online service where you can have your own server on it that personally belongs to you. That it's like a social media site. It initially started out for gamers to have a way to talk to each other while they game.
There wasn't a communication channel built into the games, and so they said, well, let's have a Discord server. And, you know,
yes, and that's used as communication. It's funny that it's called Discord, because Discord is like chaos.
Chaos, right?
It's actually a way to organize things.
Well, yeah,
so
but I would say it's suitable in the sense that it is not one, you know, centralized communication hub. It's a lot of little ones.
Right. Yeah, and I would say that Discord is my favorite social media that I know of, actually, because it has everything that you'd want on Twitch, Instagram, Snapchat, Skype, all rolled into one. You can do all of those things on a Discord server that all of those different services would give you.
A lot of times the difference between, because there's so many social media now, the difference is often about how do you acquire new people? How do you discover things? So in Discord, it's usually kind of an invite thing, right?
Yeah, Discord is on personal invite, but you can, as a streamer, you can set a permanent link in your channel that people can join the Discord server.
Okay, so if you're interested in this, follow here, and it's nice to have your communication channel outside of the particular service you're on, because a lot of times they're on multiple things. You know, it's like, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitch. You know, and your Discord can cut across all those.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great way for people when I'm not on stream. So the community aspect, rolling back to that, when I'm on stream, the community comes together, and they're not just talking to me and interacting with me. They're talking to each other and interacting with each other at the same time, making jokes to each other, talking about games. Like, people will have, like, long conversations. I've seen people in my channel have like an hour-long text conversation just between themselves among all the other chat that's going on. And sometimes like they're talking about things I have no clue what they're talking about, and I try to, it can even get confusing for me as the streamer at times to try and sift through the chat and filter. And I'm like, please, because you can mention each other by like adding.
Oh, yeah. So
use the
mention
at
each other
symbol.
if it's not to me, so I know it's not something I need to look at and
Right.
figure out what the heck you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, when did we talk about this?
Well, there's channels too, right? So you can go multiple channels.
That's true. I think that people don't utilize the multiple channels very much unless it's a very large scale streamer with like hundreds or even like thousands of
That's a
people.
pro move.
I do technically have a sub channel for subscribers. On Twitch, there's 3 tiers of subscription, but most people just do the tier 1, which is $5 monthly subscription, and you get a couple benefits to that. And different channels, you can potentially have different benefits. But one of the benefits is the big one that people love is you get the subscriber badges in the chat, which I create cabochon glass eye necklaces on stream and sell those on stream as well.
Are you wearing one of those?
I am actually wearing one. This one I would call more of a cat eye style because the pupil of what I like to call the dragon eye pendants that I paint has a burst effect on it, and this one's just more streamlined. So I call this one a cat one, but I mean, you can call it whatever you want. It still looks the same. A rose by any other name smells just as sweet, you know.
Well, how much is involved in making one of those?
So you start out
Just painting on the back, or
yeah, it's just painting on the back of it. I use lacquers to paint on the back and in all different colors. And it really, so you start with the pupil, and the pupil's the part that takes a really steady hand to get it how you want, because even a little bit off, it can just ruin the whole thing. And there's many times like when I want that pupil to be perfect, I will wipe off that pupil lacquer like 3 or 4 times.
Nope,
I'm like,
that's not it yet.
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly. and then after that, you start from the outside in, doing little layers of paint and building it in from the outside in
Give
to
it
have
some
a
dimensions.
very dynamic and layered look to it. And so like right now, I mean, this looks good in this lighting, but if you look at these necklaces in the light, you can almost get a holographic nature to them with how much dimensionality they can have when you're looking in the sunlight. Just really can bring out everything. And people have loved these. During Christmas last year, I sold like 20 of them during the holidays.
Oh, wow.
So I could barely keep up on the commissions that I was getting for these.
So yeah, that's brings up a chat. This is not just something people are doing for social satisfaction, although that's a huge aspect. But there is actually some money that can be made in this, and there's a lot of these things where when you're on someone else's platform, you know, the control and in long term the money is going to go to whoever owns the platform. In this case, Twitch.
Yeah.
And they went through it with YouTube, and they went through it with Facebook. You know, it's like they'll promote something, people grow up, and then they do a policy change, and whoosh, you know, the ground's cut out from under you. But what's the monetary model that Twitch offers to people?
So the monetary model, so like I mentioned before, there is subscriptions where if you are an affiliated streamer, so I'm an affiliated streamer, and then there's partnered streamers, you have to get a certain level to become affiliated, a certain level of viewership and hours on and followers, and those are the main 3 for affiliate. And then the next tier above, and that's to even get the ability to have the sub badges, to have the subscribers, and to have...
That's just to get certain features.
That's just to get certain features. And then from there, and so you get a certain cut from subscribers that come to your channel, and then bits. So bits are a huge way. You're asking about like the monetary way that Bit does it for them making their money off of it, besides ads now since Amazon bought
Bit
them
is
out.
what's turning out the icons, or
bits are so you can spend your own money to buy a currency that's specific to the website.
Oh, okay.
So it's a specific website currency.
And bits is the name of the currency.
And bits is the name of the currency,
Okay.
yeah. So 100 bits would equal $1. So 1 bit is basically
Penny.
equivalent to a penny, yeah. Which I think that people probably shouldn't spend their money on bits, to be honest. If I can be in all honesty, like, there's nothing really that makes doing the bits better besides having another little icon next to your name. But you know how people like to
like to do that. Fortnite
people like
made
to do
huge
that.
money on that sort of thing. It's like, oh, pick your outfits and stuff.
Yeah, for me personally, it's just not as worth it. Like, when I want to give to a streamer, when I have in the past, last year, I was able to support a lot of people outside. I had a great success last year on Twitch, and actually was able to double my income last year on Twitch. So that was a great blessing in my life.
And that was how many subscribers did you have?
At my maximum, I had like about 450 subscribers, getting on 500, somewhere in there at my maximum. Right now, I have about 120 subscribers. It's been a lot different since I moved. My schedule changed a little bit on it from where it was, and right about the same time as I moved, and if you take a couple weeks off, I swear, it's like hard to recover.
You're dead to Twitch.
It's so weird. It's strange. 2 weeks can be like 1,000 years in internet time. I'm not even kidding, man. But so moving and having a little bit of scheduling change after I took a couple weeks off for the move. And then Amazon, at the same time I was moving, Amazon bought out Twitch and changed algorithms through which people are found on their side. And also it really increased the ads that were on people. There was barely any ads on Twitch previously, and after Amazon bought them out, now there's ads on every streamer, and every time you click on someone new, if you're not subscribed to them, or one of the perks you get from being a partner is being able to have the ability to turn off ads, which is great because then it'll keep your channel growing. Even though you make, as a partner, you make ad revenue. But partners will still choose to turn off the ads, even though that is a bit of revenue that they're missing, just to make it easier for their channel to actually be growing and be more inviting for people to come in.
Right, get a smaller piece of a bigger pie.
Right, yeah.
When you're topped at 450 subs, that would put you in, what, the top 10 to 5%?
Yeah, definitely. I would say because 90% of Twitch is like 4 or 5 viewers per person. And right now I average different streams depending on what I'm doing, because I am a variety streamer and I do all kinds of activities. You know, I get about 35 to 70 people on average, sometimes more. Usually don't go below that when I'm in full swing of the middle of my streaming. I really don't go below 35 usually. That'd be rare, unless I'm like streaming totally out of my time slot, or maybe playing a game. Since I don't play games very often on stream, that's just not what people expect of me, because I'm the type of streamer that's very... A lot of streamers, especially more gamer streamers, and when they even get to my size, they're not interacting with their chat as much, because the chat will go by too fast when they're trying to do their gameplay.
Right.
And so I'm the type of streamer that I'll go back up in chat if I'm doing an activity and I miss stuff. I'll go back up and spend 5 minutes or more potentially catching up if good subjects are brought up that I have something to say about.
Yeah, Joe's asking about this and blah blah blah, and it's like, oh yeah, I got this instrument over at the shop on the coast, and
potentially, or getting into something, if it's an appropriate political question to get into, or an appropriate social question.
That's a hard one right now, right?
Right.
It's like politics, religion. Those are hard ones to get into.
Yeah, religion, I definitely don't dabble as much into on my stream, but I've gotten into politics and social issues quite a bit at different times.
That's where all the argument energy is right now.
Right, and it's
like,
kind
if we're going to
fun.
argue about something, let's argue about politics.
Right, it's kind of fun in my opinion. I can get on when I am on that roll, I have a lot to say about certain things. My channel, I've had a bit of a parabola with my viewership in my channel. Since I talked about, Amazon bought things out and it became harder for some people to get more viewership. But I was actually averaging over 100 people in my channel. And I had partnership levels, but I knew that I was going to go through this move like really soon after I saw, oh snap, my level, I could apply for partnership right now. But I wasn't in the best place, I feel like, emotionally at that time, where I wanted to apply, because they look at you and really they have personal moderators of the whole site come and look at you and see like where you're at and is this somebody we want to partner with us. And looking back now with the experience that I have, I'm like, dang, I should have applied for partner. Look at these people that they're pushing through to partner are like way more ridiculous than I was, or potentially, like weird in a way that you wouldn't necessarily. I'm like, you want that to represent your brand, Twitch? Yeah. Okay, well, I should have applied because you probably would have given it to me then. But I was trying to be more logical about it. And, once you're a partner, I feel like other people would look up to you more too. And I wanted to be in a good space personally because I had such a feel where I really try on my channel to promote other people so much that I wanted to be in a space where I feel like them looking up to me and me promoting other people was like just healthier, for where I was. But that's just a self-critique, really.
Yeah, it's a vulnerable spot to be on someone else's platform. Sometimes it's just an arbitrary change. Sometimes it's something like, oh, Amazon bought us. But as much as you can for your hardcore fans, it's good to give them some place they can go and actually find what you want them to see as opposed to some algorithm.
Right. Yeah. And that's actually the next step for me. Now that I'm rebranding, one of the reasons I've been so hesitant of having merch is because I knew that I didn't want to stick with Ichi McBabe in the long run.
Yeah.
And I just could feel it, and that's made me hesitant. But I feel like JessInTheWild, that's so much clearer of a direction to go with merch for me. And people want merch. Like, I've been absolutely blessed by my community, and there has been a parabola of viewership, but my community's only gotten stronger. So I used to have over 100 average viewers. Now I have about half that in terms of averages, average about to I think 45 average viewers right now, maybe 50. But the quality of the people that stay have just been so good. Like, just quality people. So many people I'd really like to hang out with in real life. But I get a lot of time with them, not IRL, and that's okay too. We have good quality time with each other. But I've been absolutely blessed. Like, last year, I was astonished and shocked how much people would want to donate. So that's one aspect that I didn't get into because we were talking about how Twitch encourages and makes the money and helps provide the
I looked
funnel.
at one of these streams and there was like, oh, this person's handing out subs to people or something.
Right. So there's that, but then there's a direct PayPal link donations.
Oh, wow.
Which I think which helps the streamers a lot more, and then the streamers really get the direct cut. And then you just, for streamers, when you do make enough money off the website for it to be somewhat lucrative at least, then you do have to do taxes with that at the end of the year. But I mean, still though, what a great avenue. So last year I was just inundated with like blessings and generosity from people at different times that I didn't even understand it. I didn't understand why people were donating to me as much as they were at different points in the year last year. It was shocking. And then this last month I had a couple of very generous people come by when it's been a little bit slower, and I was like, wow, it feels really nice to know that people think my show is worth something to the point where they have something to give and they want to see it keep going.
Yeah, where it like stresses them out that you're not getting enough for what you're giving.
It might, for some people, I could see that, So Twitch actually is interesting. There are some streamers on Twitch that have up to like 100,000 live viewers at a time, and sometimes people on Twitch and usually they're not talking about politics and stuff like that, but it's interesting how Twitch people with thousands of live viewers at a time, 1 million followers, hundreds of thousands of followers on the channel, lots of influence on social media. It's just so interesting how these everyday people, and like most of them video gamers, can have such an influence in the modern social climate and political climate as well. Like, somebody says something and they could potentially, because of the viewership of Twitch, the demographic of people being like 12 to 30 years old, and mostly male is the demographic of the viewership. But that's changing. I feel like more females are coming into platforms like that and gaming in general, which is awesome. And I love to game. I just don't do it on stream. weirdly enough, on a gaming platform. But it's
gaming is private. The takeaway from this is that, there are all these social platforms. I think it's a great form of, it's a form of media literacy, really, to be able to lead a room and entertain and communicate. And just don't be attached to one platform, right? It's like, be aware of your brand. I think this is nothing new, right? And, and be ready to take that from platform to platform and hopefully to your own domain if you can.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think expansion is really important, and it's all about networking nowadays. So
yeah. There's going to be ebbs and flows. So when the big money comes in, don't think it's going forever.
Right.
When it dries up, don't worry it's gone forever.
Yeah. Just stick to it, keep dedicated, and always be looking on ways that you could improve if you do get into this.
Sounds good. All right, we've been talking to Jess, now JessInTheWild.
Content creator, Twitch streamer. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on Northwest Tech Show.
Have a great day, everybody out there.